So here's the big question. How are entrepreneurs like us, who have been hustling and struggling to make it to success, who seem to make it one step forward only to fall two steps back, who are dedicated, determined, and driven, how do we finally break through and win? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Brian Kelly, and this is the Mind, Body, Business Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mind, Body, Business Show. We have a phenomenal show lined up not because of me, but because of Lisa Montgomery. She is in the wings, scratching at the glass, saying, let me in. She's going to be coming on here very, very soon. I cannot wait to introduce this young lady to you. She is an amazing businesswoman, has a lot of experience, a lot of success, which we can all pull from her. And I will do my best for you to extract her secrets of success so that you can obtain that lofty goal of success, which feels lofty, but it really isn't. It's one step at a time. And the beautiful thing is, she is that kind of person. She wants to share how she has achieved success. And that is really the whole purpose of this show. It's the Mind, Body, Business Show is about and for entrepreneurs. It's about entrepreneurs who have achieved success that come on and help everyone else by giving their nuggets of wisdom, their secrets, and all of the things that have helped catapult them to where they are today. And it's about the three components of success, and that's mind, which means mindset. And to a person, every successful entrepreneur I've interviewed, plus those that I've studied outside of this show, have a very positive, powerful, but most importantly, successful or flexible mindset. Flexible being the key word, and body. It's truly and literally about each of these individuals take care of themselves physically and nutritionally. So through exercise and through what they ingest. And then business, one of my faves, they're all my faves, but business is so multifaceted. These individuals have mastered the skill sets that are necessary to build, maintain, and grow a thriving business, successful business. Skill sets like marketing, sales, team building, leadership. I could go on for quite some time. Systematizing, there are so many. The good news is for you, that sounded like maybe a lot already. Mastering any one skill set can take a long time by itself. Now, what if you had to master all of them by yourself? Well, the good news is you don't. You don't have to. In fact, if you just master one skill set, and it was one of those very few that I mentioned, you can then leverage the others. And that one skill set is the skill set of leadership. And you might say, Brian, I don't have a team yet. That's okay. Or I never had a team. That's all right. You need to really refine and cultivate your skill of leading even yourself and putting forth discipline, habits. And I know Lisa has done all this, and I can't wait to pick her brain and see how she has come about achieving the massive amount of success that she has. Very, very accomplished, and she's going to be amazing in just a moment. And another wonderful aspect of the very successful people that I have studied, that I've met, that I've interviewed, is that to a person, they are also very avid readers of books, and not just any books. And we'll explain that in just a moment. So with that, I'm going to segue real quickly, and then we'll bring in Lisa. I'm going to segue into a little segment I affectionately call Bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Born to read. Bookmarks. Ready, steady, read. Bookmarks. Brought to you by ReachYourPeakLibrary.com.
There you see it, ReachYourPeakLibrary.com on the side. And real quick, an aside with that, if you're watching live, even if you're listening to this on the recorded podcast, audio-only version, what I implore upon you to do is, rather than going and clicking away and typing in these URLs and resources, I know Lisa's going to have many, rather than do that while the show is going on, while you're watching or while you're listening, instead, I would implore upon you to take notes. In fact, I'm running this whole show, directing, producing, and I guess starring, but no, Lisa's a star, and I'm taking notes during the show myself. And so I never ask anybody to do anything that I myself wouldn't do. But why do I say that? It is because the magic happens in the room. I say this from stage all the time, that you'll be talking on stage and you'll see someone get up and go outside because of that all-important text or phone call, or they have to use the restroom. And so I learned to let people know ahead of time. Be prepared. Go to the restroom well in advance. Turn off your phone. If it's that important, you may miss the one golden nugget that could change your life forever. And that would come from Lisa Montgomery, who's coming on here. So that's a quick aside. Reach Your Peak Library is a site that I literally had my team build with you in mind. And what it was is the reason it came about is I myself did not read avidly or voraciously until about the age of 47. That's about 11 years ago. Yep, y'all just did the math. I know you know how old I am, and I love it. And what I started doing was every book that had an impact on me, either professionally or personally, I started adding them to this collection. There is no rhyme or reason to the order that they show up on this site. I just said, here, add this one, and they would add it. And so it is a collection of books. Find one that you have not yet read that resonates with you, that jumps off the page with the quick description they have, and just go get it. You don't have to get it from this site. This goes straight to Amazon. You can get it from your bookstore, wherever you feel, but just go and get a book and read it and then put it into action, what it is all about. That's the key here. There's learn, do, and teach. You want to learn by reading, do by taking action, and then later you can pass on your knowledge by teaching. Beautiful. All right. Speaking of beautiful, you know it. It is time for the one and only Lisa Montgomery. Let's bring her on.
It's time for the Guest Expert Spotlight. Savvy, skillful, professional, adept, trained, big league, qualified.
And there she is, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it is the one. It is the only Lisa Montgomery. Woo-hee. Yes. Welcome to the show, Lisa. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm great. Wow, a lot to live up to in that intro.
Oh, all of it true. I know it. And that video was made specifically with you in mind.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A new one for every guest, right?
Yes. Oh, my goodness. So we're going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to give you the formal introduction you so richly deserve. I'm going to check a few things. Oh, Stephanie Jones says she's excited. Welcome to the show, Stephanie. Thanks for coming on and saying hi. Appreciate that. We're going to have a great show here. Before we get real deep into the wonderful, beautiful brain of Lisa Montgomery, what we're going to do is quickly do a little what I call housekeeping. Really, it's more like bookkeeping. And we're going to throw up a few ad spots. I'm just going to be transparent, and then we'll be right back. So don't go anywhere. Hang in there. It's just a couple minutes, and then we'll be back with Lisa Montgomery of The Guideline. Hey, if you're watching the Mind Body Business Show live right now, then you will have the ability to win a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort of your choosing, compliments of the Big Insider Secrets. What is it? It is a 5-night vacation stay to one of many destinations across the world. You can see as we go through this very quickly, there's some in Branson and Daytona Beach. These are in the United States, all over the United States, New Orleans, San Diego. There's also Mexico. There's also the UK. I mean, it just keeps going on and on and on. Australia. At the end of this show, you will be given the ability to enter to win. You must be watching this live. If you're not watching live, then head on over to themindbodybusinessshow.com and register to receive automated notifications when we go live the next time. And you can also participate in this incredible prize. So come on live, and you do not want to miss a moment because of our incredible guest experts. And if you're struggling with putting a live show together and it's overwhelming and you want a lot of the processes done for you while still enabling you to put on a high quality show and connect with great people and grow your business all at the same time, then write this down, carpetbombmarketing.com. Then head on over to it after the conclusion of tonight's show. Carpet Bomb Marketing. Saturate the marketplace with your message. And to get a free lifetime membership to a phenomenal resource called the Reach Your Peak Club, your free membership will include instant access to deep discounts on major software, services, and top shelf training courses that you need to run your successful business. Think of it as your entrepreneur discount house. Catapult your business to the next level. Sign up for free now and get a hotel discount card worth $200 just for joining. Then go and grab your deep discounts. So write this down, and then after the show, once again, head on over to reachyourpeakclub.com. All right, now let's get back to the show. Yes, let's get back to the show already. Who was that? Gosh darn it. Let's get moving. All right, let's bring on Lisa. Lisa Montgomery is a name recognized by some of the most prestigious women in business, and that's for good reason. Starting her career in 1999, after leaving her government job, Lisa began her own business in web and graphic design. As the fates would have it, by listening to her design clients, she noticed a gap that needed to be filled in the travel industry, going on to bring in over $1.5 million in sales annually. Lisa worked in an industry that she loved. She got to travel extensively and still had time to make others a priority. She has been involved in women's leadership. She's spoken at conferences, and she even received a Leadership Excellence Award from the Women's Prosperity Network. Taking her years of experience and expertise, Lisa now coaches women in business using her tool belt full of gifts to lead entrepreneurs to their highest potential. Yes, I love that. Wonderful. Now, officially, formally, welcome to the show, Lisa. I am so excited to have you on. This is going to be a fun time.
It is.
Yes. So one of the things I like to ask in the onset is regarding mindset, the Mind Body Business Show. We don't need to cover all three areas, but I always am very curious, being a very accomplished entrepreneur, successful businesswoman as you are, I know that you have been through it. You've been through the gauntlet of what it takes to get where you are, and probably still go through it on a daily basis in certain areas of business. And I'm just curious, like when you get up in the morning, knowing what faces you, having been through this many times, how are you keeping yourself driven? What are you thinking? What is going on in that beautiful brain of yours when you get up that keeps you driven, keeps you going forward day after day, no matter what arduous task may lie ahead of you? What is it for you?
Well, the first thing I do is when I wake up in the morning, I thank my lucky stars that I get to do what I love every single day. And I tell myself, this is going to be a great day. And if I don't believe it laying there in bed, I stay there until I believe it. Just that one, it's going to be a great day today. We don't always feel like getting out of bed and going to work. And anytime I get grumpy about it, I think, wait a minute, you picked this. You get to do this. You get to spend time with these people and change their lives, right? So that's a big piece of it.
I resonate with that hugely. And that is, someone recently, there are times when you go to bed at night, you wake up and you don't feel like you had that great a night of sleep, or you may just know you didn't because you had to get up like me several times to use the restroom for, older guys and women do too. But the thing I found when I listened to another guest who talked about that particular topic, like when they woke up, they would tell themselves, no matter how it went that night, I had a great night's sleep. And I started employing that advice. And my gosh, I got to tell you, it is powerful how unbelievably well that works. And so what you say as well, it's like waking up with gratitude, right? The attitude of gratitude.
Yes.
Do you employ that kind of thinking throughout your day as well, not just in the beginning?
I do. Another really important thing for me, though, is I think it's really important for people to figure out what their schedule is. What is the right way for them to schedule their day for how their energy works? Because, we've been taught throughout our lives that you get up, you hit it hard, you get as much done as you can possibly get done, and then you're a star at the end of the day. And you know what? That's just crap, because we all have different energy cycles. We're all, we all think differently, right? So for me, because I'm incredibly creative, I spend at least the first 2 hours of the day. I try not to go over that. My husband knows you do not talk to me in that first 2 hours. It's all my time. And I spend that time focusing on basically creating everything I'm going to do that day. If I have clients that I'm working with, I think about them and I think about what I'm going to be doing with them, or different ideas for them, or different ideas for my business. But I spend the first 2 hours just doing that. And it's so fun.
There you go.
And if I don't do that, then I am not nearly as productive for the rest of the day. I can tell you.
And I think you hit on one of the key elements where you just said it's so fun. It's like, I've talked to so many people on this show, entrepreneurs, and they all have their own routine. And it works for them. And I think what you said is just perfect, because you want to find out what your schedule is, not somebody else's, not work to someone else's. Yeah, they're like, you got to get up at 5 a.m. and the early bird gets the worm and all that stuff. It's like, no, you don't. Who told you had to do that? You only have to do that if you told yourself you have to do that, and do what works, right? Like you're saying. And I love that. And many would do certain routines where they, just like you, the more successful people that I have on the show, they typically don't start right out of the chute going, bang, let's go to work. They usually have a routine where they're easing themselves into the day, getting prepared mentally, physically, whatever it happens to be, nutritionally. And I love all of the different types and styles of routines that successful people like yourself come up with. And what I tell people on the show that are listening or watching or both is try it out. Give what Lisa's doing a try, because it may be yours too. If that doesn't work, there's other guests that you can go watch past shows and try their routines out until you find those pieces that fit for you. Is that something that you figured out immediately, or did this happen over time?
Oh, that's a dream. I wish I'd figured it out immediately. No, it took a while. It took a while. And one of the things that I think got me to that point, there were a couple things, but one of the main things that I remember is when I realized I was working so hard in my business and never spending time on it. And so when I allowed myself the time to back off and really just think about it and look at the big picture, then all of a sudden everything came together. It was like, I've got to have this time. And so then when I travel a lot and I have to get up like every morning and be with somebody first thing in the morning, by the end of a trip, I don't know my name anymore. It's like I need to go into a cave of silence for a week or something. But part of that is about learning about what your natural way of response is. Like, are you a creative person? Are you a person that likes to research a ton? Are you a person that's like a great to-do person, right? You're great at going down that to-do list, or you're great at implementing. I took a Colby Index test recently, and that's something I have all my clients do now. And that shows you basically your way of being, which is mine is I'm super creative, but my follow through is not good, people. So what do? You hire that part out. And by figuring those things out, then you get to spend your time in the area that you love spending your time in, versus trying to go, oh, I should be able to do all these things. And you can't. Nobody can do that.
They can't sustain it. There's definitely, that's true. I think every one of us has gone down that path for some time, whether it's a long time or a short period of time, because that's what solopreneurs do. And could we do it? Like, do we have the capability? Probably yes, but you don't want to, because you'll burn out and your business will suffer as a result. And I resonate with this as well, because the moment I got help, the moment I got true help, full-time help, that's when everything started changing. I'm like, my eyes opened. It was like I woke up. I was like, wait a minute. I don't have to do all this stuff. I don't need to be doing this grind stuff day to day. And I don't have to say no to everybody anymore, because I now have people to do the work that I used to do that I no longer had time to do because I was on my own. It was so liberating. So now I'm like on a soapbox everywhere I go, get help, get help. Get help.
Yeah, that's my number thing when people are like, what's the worst thing that you've ever done in your business? It's like, I didn't hire out. I didn't figure out what I wasn't doing, wasn't enjoying. Just because I could do it doesn't mean I should be doing it. Right? And there's no joy in it. If there's no joy in it, pass it off.
Did you struggle at all? I've talked to others who, I know one in particular, I'm not going to name names, but they said they are not going to get help because no one else can do what they do. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's recipe for disaster.
Talking.
Yeah, that's
ego,
just
right? Your ego talking.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of fear in ego too. There can be a lot of fear in that. So they're hanging on to it really, really hard. And so it's kind of like, so what's your upside? What are you trying to prove? Who's grading you on this?
Yeah.
And just a thing you probably don't know is my logo is a hammer, because I'm so direct. That when I was in Women's Prosperity Network leading people all the time, I would just be, and I do it with my clients too, as I'm like, well, guess what? You suffering and doing that. Are you enjoying it? Do you want to stop suffering? Okay. If not, go ahead. It's not my life, you know? And they're like,
Yeah.
wow, that's direct. I'm like, I bet you've heard it 1,000 times from different people, but they were just a lot less direct on it. Now, can't say you didn't hear it, you know? And they usually move on. They're like, okay, now I'm going to have to face it because, you know, we all have stuff.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest hurdles for people is, well, how do you offload what you know how to do to someone else so that they do it the way you want it? And that's already an ego statement right there. But for you, and if you can go back to that time when you first started getting help for yourself, what was it? I mean, did you have that resistance, that hesitation, that, my gosh, I don't know if this is going to work? And what did you do to get over it? If you can think of anything specific that helped you.
I found a company that was a company that I knew had enough variety in their VAs to where they could handle all the different things. And I had referrals from people that had used them. And it's a solid company. It's not some person off somewhere that I don't know where they are that, you know, shows up good in uniform but can't really do the job. You know, they should be a salesperson because they were selling, right? But they can't do. My biggest hesitation really is the fact that I need to be able to hand it off. And it's not that I'm holding on to it because I want to do it. It's more of just, I got to take the time to explain this crap I don't want to do anyway to somebody. You know, that's really been my hardest part. But I think it really is worth your time. I think a lot of entrepreneurs just like, they get a recommendation from somebody, or they, you know, see an ad and they just jump on it. They're just like, oh, I'm so relieved to have the help. Well, it's like hiring somebody for your company. Wouldn't you give them a whole freaking long list of things to do to make sure they're the right person, if they're even going to hang in there and get the form done? I mean, and people don't, and it's too trusting, and you just can't do that.
Yeah, it certainly is not a magic pill, and everything you're saying is spot on. My goodness. And so valuable that will save so many people a lot of time. My gosh, time to explain. That is the number one. It's like, I don't have time to do it myself, let alone to teach somebody. And then it's one after the other. And I'm developing additional, I'm always refining and adding, but I'm developing a big section for our SOPs right now for onboarding new clients. And it's arduous. It's a lot of work, but I'm doing it as I'm building out a new client. So I'm actually actively teaching it as I'm creating it. That made it a little more bearable. It's still a lot of work, but guess what? When it's done, holy moly, I can back off and stop working in that part of the business and on the other things that are more important, like marketing and bringing in new clients and the things that should be more under my purview than others. So thank you for that honest answer about helping or telling people, you know, don't just jump in and think you just got a VA. Oh, great, everything's gonna be fine now. Mine, I got a similar situation. I went through an organization that had multiple talented VAs, and they just drop in the new VAs whose talent I need, and then they finish the task and they pull them back out. It's phenomenal. I have a primary VA who is the most incredible you could ever ask for on the planet. It did take, though, about 3 months to hit a rhythm with her, working with her on a regular basis. So it doesn't just click the moment you start, and many people don't realize that. And I had people that
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, I had people that I referred to the agency that would come back and complain to me. It's not working out. It's like, you've just started. It's been 2 weeks. Give me a break. Let me explain it to you. Here's how it works.
Well, and the funny thing is, too, is I struggled in the beginning, and I just started with somebody new, and I was struggling with them. I looked in the mirror first because I started to get irritated with them. I was like, wait a minute, you know, and then I looked in the mirror and I was like, it's you. Pull your head out. You're expecting them by osmosis to figure out what the heck you're thinking. So maybe you should just like work on it harder. And so I did. And guess what? Results are beautiful now.
It's communicate. All right. That's it. It's coming earlier than usual, but oh my. Lisa Montgomery
so
dropping smart bombs of wisdom. Oh my goodness. This is phenomenal. Yeah. And but it's so important. This is such an important aspect of building a successful business, is not just getting the help, but getting it and knowing what to expect, giving them the proper level of expectations, being good and getting better at communicating and training them and building your systems.
Mm-hmm.
And it's taken time. I went through apprentices for, I don't know how many years, where they were by design only with me for 90 days, then they were gone. I learned how to train somebody well enough to leave me because I knew they're going to leave me anyway. And now I use that same philosophy with my people. I said, I'm training you well enough so that you can literally leave me and start your own business if you wanted to. And then I would say tongue in cheek, but you can never leave, don't you? But I have fun with it. And the cool thing is, if they did leave me, the systems will be in place, the SOPs, the training will be there, that it won't take that long to do the transition to the next person. I don't want it to happen ever, but at least it's prepared. If you lose that one key person, your whole company could go to the ground if you don't have systems in place.
That is so true. And, you really do want to, I really kind of want to throttle people who don't want to train their people because they're worried about that. Like they would go off immediately, or they'll go off and start their own business. You've done your job if you have lifted somebody to the level that they can go off and do something like that. To me, that is like one of the most wonderful things you can do for somebody else, because it's not all about you, people. They're going to leave anyway at some point, right? Nobody's with you for the rest of your business or your life or whatever. So you want to make sure you take care of them properly.
Could not agree more. Oh my goodness.
We've got things in common, don't we?
Thank you, Deidre Beecham, for Deidre Beecham is the one who referred you to this show to me. And thank you, Deidre, if you're watching or if you're listening. I appreciate that, because that's the beautiful thing is, you want and you want to associate yourself with people like Deidre, like Lisa, who are going through it, who's been through it. And now that you're a coach, Lisa, I can imagine all the women you are impacting in a positive way, given your vast experience, your knowledge. You've obviously been through it all. I wouldn't say all, no one has ever been through all of it, but you've been through more than most, I would say. But you've taken what you've learned and you've turned it into a successful strategy and model that you can teach and train others. And I love that people like you exist, because you're somebody that makes the world a better place, one person at a time. And so I appreciate you for doing that.
Thank you. I try. I mean, that's our job here. What's really funny is, so I had my travel business before this, and I worked only with men for years, only with men. My clients were 99% men in my travel business.
Wow.
All CEOs, all doctors, all those kinds of people. And so I learned male psychology very, very well. I learned how to work with men very, very well. And everybody kept saying, Lisa, you need to coach. You need to be a business coach. And I was like, I don't want to figure all that out. Well, guess what? At some point after about 15 years, and it was right before COVID, I was like, man, I don't have the love for it anymore. What am I going to do now? And so then I kind of went into the cave for a while, like everybody else during COVID, and I came out with this. So that's why I ended up coaching now. So
and how long has that been going on?
Interesting experiences. I just started this year with it.
Oh,
I've been doing it a long time for free. And I finally went, why am I doing it for free? Yeah, no, I'm not doing that anymore. So, well, and I have a lot of psychic ability, and I'm a medium, and I have learned over COVID. I went to some very prestigious people and really learned how to use my abilities better. And so I have been able to incorporate that into my business, and I didn't realize that that's where so much of my brilliance came from. I would have these wonderful ideas. I'd be like, well, I really don't think I'm that smart. But so that's another reason it started, was because I was like, okay, what am I going to do with this? This is like significant. This really helps people. What am I going to do? So I thought, I'm finally going to have to go into this business coaching thing. And I'm loving it. I have the most amazing clients, and they're having amazing results. And I'm so grateful,
Oh my gosh. That's there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the definition of entrepreneurial happiness right there. I got goosebumps up and down my arms, because I'm not kidding, because so many people are looking for that golden egg, that one magic pill, that one thing I'm finally going to be happy. I'm going to be successful, all that. And you just epitomized what that would feel like and look like right there. And it's not that difficult. It's not that complex. It's just finding what you love to do and using it to help others and get that gratification. Not once has Lisa made a comment, not once, about, oh, it makes me a lot of money, because her mind, she's centered on helping other people and having a good time doing it.
Yeah, I really am. But it takes bravery sometimes. It's taken me a lot of courage and a lot of bravery to come out as I always just say I'm a spook. I always just go, well, my spooky stuff, But it took a lot of bravery because I'm known as being this solid businesswoman in the business community, right? And internationally. And I'm like, well, I don't know if anybody will talk to me anymore. I don't know if they're going to throw stones at me. I don't know what's going to happen. But I went, you know what? It'll all take care of itself. The people who think you're crazy will leave. The people who think it's okay and realize you're still the same person you always were will come to you. And that's exactly what's happened. Actually, there haven't been too many people that have left that I know of. So anyway, it's like, be brave about what you want. Talk about it out loud, because if you don't talk about it out loud, it's not going to happen.
I love that, because this is true no matter what people do or how they go about doing it. We are not going to be a fit with everyone we come in to play with. And so stop chasing everybody when they just aren't going to be ready, or you probably don't want them as a client because there's something, a value misalignment, there's something that's missing, or you just don't have something that solves a pain point of theirs. There could be a myriad of different reasons, but if it's not a fit, that's okay. Move on and try to help someone else and be okay with, okay, I didn't help every single person I've ever talked to, because it won't happen that way, no matter what you do or how you go about doing it, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the funny part is you and I both love marketing, right? We talked about that a little bit before we came on. And I absolutely love it when I repel somebody marketing. I just love it when they're like, oh, you're gross. I'm like, yeah, I am. Bye. I don't care. I just get out of here, But I also know that I only have the patience for certain people too, though. I know who my fit is. I'm not doing this just for the money. Yeah, everybody likes to make money. We need to make money. But having said that, I don't want to work with brand new entrepreneurs. I have way too much going on. When I get somebody who's in there, understands business to a good point, can get into here, and their mindset has to be reasonable within there. It's okay. Everybody has mindset work to do, but they can't be like, woe is me, because I'll just slap them to death if that happens. So we don't want that going on. So, you know how it is. You have to be picky about who you want to let into your sphere. You want your people to be, you want them to be very successful. You want them to feel great about what they're doing. I mean, I had one woman who was like, after our first just session, before we even had a coaching session, was like, oh my gosh, I was getting ready to go to a therapist. And I realized I'm just out of alignment. I'm just like not spending time where I should be spending time. And I'm like, see how simple that was? And they were like, but I couldn't get there, Yeah,
not just where you're spending it, but who you're spending it with as well. Right. So she was spending that time with you, and that elevated her. And that's just as important, as to surround yourself with the people who they'll elevate you, but do it with love and literally smack you if you're going down the wrong path, because that's love. To say, hey, I'm here to help you. I need to redirect you a little bit. And it may not feel good, but it's going to be for your good. And that's what you come off to me as someone who is there in their corner, and you'll tell them whatever they need to hear, regardless of how it makes them feel. If it hurts their feelings, that's, that's temporary. Their success is long-term and lasting.
And I'm always like, I'm coming from my heart on this for you.
Yeah.
So get ready. And here it is, and they're just like, uh-oh. Oh, it's so funny.
And, I had a mentor for years. I learned to speak from stage, became his lead trainer. And there were times where he would say some things that at that moment, they're like, ouch, dang, that hurt. But I knew his heart. And when he did it, the result was tenfold better than if he had just coddled me and said, oh, it's okay, you'll do better next time. No, he just went bing, zing, right between the eyes. And I love him for it, because he didn't beat around the bush. He saw the moment where that needed to be put into play. He wasn't like that all the time. He was very supportive and everything. Just find a good mentor is what I'm telling everybody out there. Like this one right here. She's been through it. She understands, and she's also there in your corner and doing it for you, not against you. She is there to help you. And everything you said, my gosh, the mindset. Have you ever had, I'm sure in all of your time going through business with travel and everything else, have you ever had that? Can you think of, we don't need to bring it up, who it was, a client that was such a pain in the rear that they literally became like a cancer to your business? Can you recall something like that ever happening?
You know what's interesting? We all have one of those, don't we?
Yes.
I tend to let those people in when I'm too tired. When I'm too tired and I'm not making the right decisions, and I will let the wrong person in.
Yes.
Because usually within talking to somebody within 5 minutes, and I've been like this forever, I can tell if they're going to be a fit or not. But if I ignore a yellow flag that comes up or a red flag that comes up, people listen to your intuition. That's something I teach people about a lot. If you ignore that, it's going to come back and bite you in the butt so hard. I mean, I had one guy who wanted to go to Panama. And I was like, okay, I'll send you to Panama. And this is when I lived in Utah years ago. And it was really interesting. He gave me credit card information and stuff. And this was a long time ago. You know, the internet was barely working then. And my telephone, for some reason, my phone went out. You know, they were landlines back in the day. And within an hour, I guess it got fixed within a couple hours. My phone started ringing. It was him. He had called Amex to cancel everything. He was telling everybody that I was a scammer. He had gone down the list, and he sent me a letter about how, well, I'm still going to Panama. And I was like, I don't think you are. And he said, I'm going, you have to, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, buddy, you're not going anywhere. And I just was like, here's a letter from an attorney, click, 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 click. Send it off to him saying, you know, we haven't taken any money and you're going to stop this harassment. I mean, I've stuff like that with these guys who are just bullies. And yeah, and I had to get pretty tough because I was a lot softer then. You know, I hadn't worked with people treating me like that. And now nobody treats me like that. So yes, that because it can throw you off for a long time. It can go on for weeks with people if you don't know how to handle situations.
Yeah, I think we've all been at some degree. I mean, any of us that have been on this planet for a number of years, that let's say more than 20 would probably have say they experienced something like that. And yeah, and you learn from it. And that's the beautiful thing is then you learn how to screen and filter people on the front end so you don't have to deal with that after the fact. Like I said, a cancer, because the emotional anguish you go through that just tears you apart, that it really affects your effectiveness in your business for those clients that you truly do want to care for and help get along. So yeah, it's one of those things that I think it's important for people to understand, to put more emphasis on the front end filtration of bringing someone in. If they have a heartbeat and a credit card, that is not a go for them to be a client by itself. They need to also have
if you're taking people like that, it's just being desperate at that point. That's just desperation talking. And yeah, we don't do that.
Yeah, because that'll cost you more than
yeah, I can't handle that. Well, and the other thing is, Brian, that, you know, it affects how you view other people that are approaching you about coming to you to use your services. You know, then you don't trust people for a while and you're looking at them all funny. And it's, you know, that's just one thing that can happen. Forget that they can try and destroy things behind the scenes for you. And it's just because they have so much time on their hands that this is all they're going to think about now, I guess. So it's just like, I don't really want to ever get in their heads of how they are. I just know I keep them away at every turn that I can.
Yeah.
So
that's extremely valuable advice. It'll save you time. It'll save you anguish. It will improve your business, your results. It'll improve your own happiness by making sure you're working with the right people. Now, do bad apples slip through now and then? I'm imagining so, that on occasion, but at least they're probably not as bad as the one you just described. And it'd be easier to kick to the curb and say you're fired. Be okay with firing clients. What do you think about that?
Oh, I have no problem. I'm like, bye-bye. I'm sure there's somebody else for you out there, not me. But yeah, no, I have no problem firing clients. I mean, I treat people with kindness and respect, and I expect the same. And if something isn't working out, it's not working out for both of us, no matter what they think. And if they're just fighting harder and harder and harder to make it work and being more and more upset with you, isn't that the indication that you're done?
Yeah. Boom.
And that's why you sit back in the morning for 2 hours and you think about things and you kind of assess things that are going on, because you got to recognize those red lights that
Yes. Very important. So you, in your bio in the beginning, you used to work in a corporate or a government job, which I can relate to that as well. So that's where you have, I don't know what kind of job you worked in, but usually with the government, there are many guidelines, should I say, rules. You must
yeah.
march to the beat of the government drum, and there's documentation and check boxes, and don't do it your way, because you'll be punished for that in different ways. It's the antithesis of entrepreneurship. It's like the anti-entrepreneurship, because you really have no freedom in that case. It sounds like I'm getting that right, because I've been there myself. So for you, now that you've some time ago gotten past that and broke out and did your own thing, and you're now your own self, an entrepreneur, what would you say is currently your absolute favorite aspect of being an entrepreneur versus working in a corporate environment?
Oh, just the freedom to get to spend the time with whoever you want to spend your time with. I love being able just to go, you know what? I think I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks. Bye. And I pick up and I go, right? I love it. I love being able just to have my own schedule. I love being able to think my own thoughts. I was only in that job for 5 years. And before that, I was in corporate environments. I lived in Dallas and Houston and worked for huge real estate developers, like the ones who do all the big downtowns all over the place, the huge buildings, high rises and stuff. And, but I've always managed everywhere I've worked, this will make you laugh, to almost create a position for myself. I may have gotten hired at one thing, but guess what happened? I always managed to end up creating my own job. I'd be like, I really think we need this in here. Maybe I should learn desktop publishing for that. They're like, yeah. So they buy me the software and I'd figure it all out and go to classes. I go to Adobe in California and come back. And, then I ended up being like a project manager in engineering. And I just got to boss engineers around all day. I love that. So that worked out okay for me.
Wow.
But then it was a really good thing. It was a really good thing to move the way I moved forward with all of it. So I just wanted to ski and play tennis, but unfortunately everybody wanted me to learn how to write websites and do other things. So then I went off on that little adventure.
Yeah, skiing and playing tennis, unless you're really, really good, may not pay the bills. So you have to figure out something, right?
I didn't have to worry about it then. At that point in time, we had lots of money. So now I'm like, then 2008 happened and we went, let's do something new. So it worked out okay.
We have someone I think you must know based on her comment. Pamela J. Wilson says, Lisa is the best.
She's one of my clients.
And she has a question for you. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
What advice would you give to someone who isn't sure what is next for them, wanting to make a difference?
Oh, she couldn't ask me something easy, could she? I would actually, knowing Pamela, I would sit down. I would just have to sit down and have a long conversation with them about what matters to them in life, where they want to move forward, what's important to them. That's just a conversation. It seems to be something that I am highly skilled at. I do not know why, but it's like I can talk to somebody for a period of time and go, oh, it's really this, isn't it? And they're like, oh my gosh, it is that. And then we're allowed to go down that path and develop it and flesh it out. And so that just seems to be one of my gifts. And I'm like, thank you, God, I'll take that. So you just have to, one of the things I come across a lot is people who have all this experience and they have all these different ideas. And they don't know what to do. They don't know where to go next. They don't know what to do with it all. They're working on 5 different things or 10 different things and getting nowhere versus being able to actually narrow down to what really is important to them.
That's I mean, you're hitting, it's obvious you've been doing this for a while, whether it was free or not. I can tell, because that is often, as entrepreneurs, that is one of our Achilles heels, is that shiny object syndrome. It's like, ooh, we're in the middle of something. It may not be going the way we want as fast as we want. Has that ever happened? Like, always. And then
every day.
And then, I get a call from a colleague, or they email me, you got to check this new tool out. I'm a tech geek, and I go crazy with this stuff. I'm like, no, I can't. Don't succumb to it, because I will go down a rabbit hole and my entire day will be gone if I do it. And I've done that. And that's one of the hardest things to do, is to be disciplined and stay focused on the task at hand. Like, if you have clients, they're your number one priority. Research and development, that's not number one. If you've got an active client working on with them, they always take priority. Yes, you do need to continue to grow your company. Maybe hire somebody to do that for you and take that off your plate. But yeah, I can get that whole thing with it too much. If they're juggling too many things in the air, it's difficult to go forward in any one of them or all of them, let alone any one of them, because the focus isn't there. Have you ever been through that kind of situation, Lisa, yourself?
Before I landed here, yes. Exactly that. That's where I was like, what am I going to be when I grow up? I'm 62. I got to figure it out again. So yeah, so it's very common. And I think it's interesting with entrepreneurs, because they're not going to give up. They're just going to keep going and going and going and going, right? They're just going nowhere. And I actually took the time. It took me about a year to develop what I wanted to do. So it took me a while. Another thing that gets in the way with people is that they think that, oh, I know what it is now, so now I can just go do it. No, you can't just go do it. Really think about what you want this to look like at the end. What is your vision? You have to really have something that's like, that's the golden egg. How am I going to get to the golden egg? And how's it going to feel good going there? Because I just had a session with somebody today that was like, it's only her second session, but man, they've been amazing. And she just said, she actually had tears in her eyes. She goes, oh my gosh, this is the biggest thing I'm ever going to do. And she said, and it just feels like fun. It's just going to be fun. And I said, exactly, because it's what you're supposed to be doing. This is the thing you've been working toward your whole life up to this point. And you and I both know that will morph as it goes along, but that's what happens in business. It never ends up how you think it's going to end up.
Isn't that true?
Yeah. And the other thing is, I have a sticker that I have up like multiple places in my house, actually, that says, will this get you closer to your vision? Will this get you closer to your goal? Because that keeps me from the shiny object syndrome a lot, is me just glancing up and going, oh yeah, I think I'm just messing around now and I've lost my focus. Okay, let's go back to the thing that's fun, that is going to get me where I need to go.
Yeah. Have you ever had it where you look at something that comes across and you have those thoughts, like, I don't know if I should be going down this path, but then you think about it and go, but you know what? This might perhaps actually enhance or improve my current process, and then actually go after it. Has that happened to you before?
Oh, a million times.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll go down the path and go, okay, that's really not for me, but that's okay, because it didn't take me down the path. I didn't go down the path for a year. I went down the path for a month or something, right? Or you can say that with a partnership you have with somebody. It can be that too, where you're like, okay, I think this is the perfect person. And then what happens? It's not the perfect person. You realize that you have all these different things. That's one reason I rely on this Kolbe test so much, because I can tell I know exactly where we're going to match up. I know where our conflicts are going to be. I know how to help them excel. I know where I can excel. It's an amazing thing. And I have somebody that actually does the test, has consultations with you. I'll give you her name afterward, because you need to talk to her. She's amazing. But it's so helpful, because it allows you just to go, oh, it's okay that I'm bad at that, or not even bad at that, that's not my area of strength. Right.
And that you should get someone else to do that for you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, yay, that's my hire out list. I love it over there.
So, okay, I've never heard of this Kolbe test thing. Is that accessible to all?
It is. I go through Vicky Ibaugh, who has Know You to Grow You, because she's a business coach as well, but she's also about you learning the best way to work with people and work for yourself. And I could give you her information. I think they're out there, and you can do it online for $55.
Okay.
The thing is, if you don't have a coach that teaches you what all those things mean, you'll only get about a quarter out of it. You'll go, oh, okay, that's cool. That's neat. Yeah, I understand that, but you don't really get it. You don't really get that, like, because I'm like super creative. I was like, wow, that's a relief. I just thought I was kind of crazy. It's just like, how can I keep coming up with all this stuff? But it was like, oh, good. This really is my area of strength. And that allowed me to go, oh, this 2 hours I take in the morning is super important to me. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it all kind of goes together with how things work. So just to get off on a tangent.
I asked you. So yeah, thank you. And yeah, I would love to get that information to figure that. That sounds very intriguing. Like almost that you could use it to send your own people through your team.
Absolutely. That is something that she does. And like I said, I won't work with somebody, like I won't have a partner. Every single client has to go through it. And because I'm just like, no, it makes it so much more beneficial to everyone that you can hit their strengths immediately, And wow. Plus you can see somebody, if they're super creative, they're not the people who should be implementing something over here for you, even though they tell you they're going to be able to do that. So it's very, very valuable. And it helps people work as a team a lot better too.
Yeah. I mean, I've run into this with like spouse partnerships where one is very creative and the other one is more of the office manager, if you will. And so if I find out really fast, like, okay, I need to be actually at this point where we're at, I need to speak to the office manager and just keep being creative on this side. We'll come back to you in a little bit. But it's interesting because different people respond differently to the stimulus that they need to grow their business. But if they have a partner and they have multiple skill sets or personality traits, then it makes it a little easier. But if you need to kind of know who's who and who to target for which part of the business. Am I making any sense here?
You are. No, I totally understand it because I've spent time on them, and I can look at somebody's Colby and go, oh, okay, I know where we're going to run into trouble.
Interesting.
Where we could run into trouble. Like if I have somebody super technical and super strong that way, my super creativity will drive them nuts if I don't pull it back. They can only handle it to this level. And if I go into it more, I start seeing the eyes glaze over and I go, oh, I've gone too far. They can't handle all that. But I can't handle listening to too much technical stuff. If you get way deep in the technical, my skin practically crawls. So, it's just like, but now I understand why, so that's good.
It's so funny. I've been in those situations myself on both ends, sending and receiving.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. They're like, oh, I can't do this anymore. Like, oh yeah, I went off on that end. I'm sorry. I'll reel it back in. Let's get back to chunking this up a little bit. Oh my gosh. This has been so much fun.
There's something I'd really like to mention quickly that I think is super important for entrepreneurs that they tend to overlook, which is they don't have a community. That they need to find. They're too afraid to ask questions. They're too afraid to appear weak. They won't ask for help. And when they go into something, they don't find a community of really good people that will support them, that they can learn from and bounce things off of. So one reason Deidre referred me to you is because we've been in my personal mastermind together for like 2 years.
Okay.
And so that is something where we get together and there are 4 or 5 of us and we're very creative. We have a marketing person there. We have her. She's a video person. We have a hypnotherapist. We have somebody who's an event specialist. And then there's me and who knows what I'm all kinds of things. But what I'm saying is, it's like once I started going down the spiritual tarot / psychic road, I had to find that community because otherwise, you're kind of lost. You're dead in the water. You aren't going to be nearly as productive. You're not going to be nearly as happy, and you're going to be lonely.
Yeah, it's very important, and a mastermind group is perfect. I recently joined one, and I'm a geek. I love tech stuff, and all of these individuals are very astute technically. And they go out and they do research and throw out new tools. I'm like, my gosh, every time I always complain. Every time I get on our mastermind meetings, they cost me money because I go off and and go grab these services, and I always have fun with it. So I gave them one back last meeting just a couple days ago, and they're like, "Hey, you're costing us money right now." I said, "Yeah, I like to give back, guys."
Turnabout's fair play, baby.
Yeah, no, it's all good and all fun and so important.
Yeah.
They have a mastermind. Now, I do want to. You mentioned the word tarot, and I wanted to address the elephant in the room for some people, because you and I had this chat before the show, and I loved how you addressed it. So there are many preconceptions when that word or tarot card reading comes up. A lot of it gets into occult and other things. I don't want to go down that path, but I would like to hear from you, Lisa, to tell everyone else what your approach, what your use of it is, and kind of just lay it out in layman's terms and kind of ease everybody's mind on how it is you utilize that.
Okay. Yeah, it is an interesting thing because it has been perceived and actually been presented for a long, long time. Then it's this big, mystical, scary thing, and horrible things are going to happen to you. I use it as prescriptive, not predictive. So it's more of a, okay, here's what I'm seeing coming up, but so what does that mean to you? Like, it looks like, you're struggling, like you're really blocked and you're not able to break through something. So let's talk about that. That's all it is. It's just going down that path. It's not like, oh, the death card came up, you're going to die. So no, all that means is your mindset's screwed up. It means that, like, you are not focusing. You are not thinking about the things right the way. You see what I mean? So it's really more, that's how it's used. That's how I use it. That's how many people use it. And it has come into a lot of business coaching now. It is, I have a gentleman I work with in Ireland, and he has a company called Celtic Tarot Therapy. I think that's what it is. Celtic Tarot Therapy. Anyway, I should know. Anyway, but he's been a psychotherapist, and he's getting his PhD in psychotherapy right now. And he's an amazing tarot reader. And so he brings it in to that as well. It's just another tool. It's in my toolbox.
Yeah. And so I love it because the way you say it's predictive and not, it's prescriptive and not predictive. Yeah. I got it backwards. And I love that because it sounds like you just are identifying where they are at today. It's nothing in the future like, whoa, I can tell what's going to happen to you. It's not that. It's like, oh, this is where you're at. Let's just address that and have a discussion about that and see what that is about. And what is there anything we can do to help you in that stuck state, whatever that happens to be.
Mm-hmm. Right, so exactly.
It sounds simple. It's not woo-woo. It's not witchcraft. It's not sorcery. It's not divination and all this other stuff. Everybody that I've read online in the way that you utilize it, and that's why I wanted to address that elephant in the room so that people can kind of decompress. Like me, I wondered. I asked you about it before we started the show. I was curious. Do you get people that come on and go, "What are you talking about, tarot?"
I'm glad you did, though, because it's a new day. It's a new day for tarot, really. It's a new way of being. It's so many people are learning, and so many people are learning the right way. And I've worked with a gentleman in the UK. He has an academy he's like been the top tarot reader in the world for a long time. He's just like cool dude, but he's just a businessman too. He's been doing it for 40 years, but he's an amazing businessman. And we spend a lot of time with it. And people who are doing it properly really, really, really care about the people they are doing these readings for. They truly have a big heart and they want to help people. And so it's not the, give me your $20 and I'm going to tell you what your uncle's doing, kind of thing.
It's really interesting because I became certified in neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. I've actually recorded 3 hypnosis CDs of my own. And the thing is no matter what approach or tool, I love that word, that is being used, it can be used for good or it can be used for bad. It's about the person that is actually using it. And that is that's the most important part, is knowing that person, getting to know that person, like Lisa, as you can tell and as I can tell, has your best interest at heart. This is someone you can trust. NLP can be used for bad. So can hypnosis. It can be. So it really comes down to the vehicle, the person that is utilizing these tools and how they're using it. So, but I went through a lot to learn NLP and hypnosis. I used to be like this and get away from me, Satan. You're not going to change my faith, because that's what I felt about it. That's what I believed. And it turned out to be nothing like that, nothing of the sort at all. And I think we just lost Lisa's feed on video. Can you still hear me, Lisa? Well, actually, this is a good time. What I'll do is we'll segue over into the prize giveaway, and then hopefully we'll get Lisa back on. And if you can hear me, Lisa, you may want to just hit refresh and come on back. We were having some technical difficulties in the very beginning, and that's okay. That's what happens when you're doing everything online. And so what I want to do is, I promised everyone who stayed and watched live until the end that you could win a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort. And I cannot wait to see who that's going to be. I'm going to put it up on the screen now. Remember, you must be watching live to enter. So do yourself a favor, write this down, and hopefully we'll get Lisa back to ask a closing question. She also has a gift to give to you as well, and we'll address that here in a moment. Hopefully we can get her back. And so here's the prize. I'm going to put it up on the screen. So write this down. The URL, the web address is ryp.im/vacation, all lowercase. RYP, that stands for Reach Your Peak, which is my company name, Reach Your Peak, ryp.im/vacation. Oh, I hear Lisa in the background. We just can't see her at the moment. That's great. Hope we can get her voice back at least here in a moment. Yes, I see a message coming in. All right, she'll be back. Cool. And so you want to go there after the show's over and enter to win. We will be monitoring the entries after the show's over. But again, you must be watching live. We know when they come in, if you were watching live or not. So go ahead, go to ryp.im/vacation, write that down, and then enter to win when the show reaches its conclusion. All right. How are we doing, Lisa? Are we coming back?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I
Perfect.
don't know why you can't see me. I don't know what's happened, so I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I don't know what happened.
We have a beautiful picture of you holding up a very, very beautiful young lady. That is just wonderful.
Oh, my granddaughter, I'm sure.
She's a cutie. Yeah, so you did have a gift for people, and I wanted to bring that up and let you explain it and take it away. Can you see me? Can you see the show?
I can.
Well?
I can see the show.
Okay.
I just don't know what's happened here. So,
all right, I'll put up the gift so you can take it away and let people know how they can get this amazing, amazing offer.
Yeah, I'm just going to give away a annual tarot reading, which are really, really fun to go through. And we go through kind of what's happened in your last year and look forward to see how things are going to look for the next year. And they usually take about an hour, and they're loads of fun to do.
Sweet. And then the next piece of that is, when Brian gets his stuff together, is the way to schedule.
Yeah, you can email me at the Let's Chat at the Guideline, or you can fill out the form that should be where a website is. And contact me that way. Or you can even, just message me at my phone number there. That's the 801-388-5700. Any of those work.
Okay. So for those of you listening, it's Let's Chat at theguideline.com. That is the email address. Her email or her web address is, there you are, is theguideline.com. And that is where the form is that she mentioned, along with the phone number she just spoke out loud, is 801-388-5700. So you have 3 different ways to get a reading from the amazing Lisa Montgomery, who I can tell is just a gem of a person who has your best interest at heart. And obviously getting results. She has people coming on saying so as we're doing this show. So if it's a fit for you, some of you may still have that hesitation. That's okay. Not everybody's a fit for everyone. I've interviewed a lot of people on this show. It's going on 5 years, and I can tell pretty quickly, like you so astutely said, Lisa, in the first 5 to maybe 15 minutes, if someone's going to be that kind of good person or not, that's a fit. You are one of those good people that it was obvious. So much. So obvious to me anyway. And not to say I'm the end all be all of knowing and reading people, but it's worked well for me over the years.
Back at you though. We could have a lot of fun if we lived close.
Yes, which may happen soon. Well, it's not may.
Happen.
It will. It will, not may. It will. It's going to happen. I cannot wait. So yeah, there's a big story behind that, but we won't go down that rabbit hole. We went over a little bit of time, and I always end every show, Lisa, with a very wonderful question. And the thing about its wonderfulness is it's become a very powerful one, not because of the question itself, but because of the responses. And a very cool thing, I started doing it kind of randomly in the beginning of this show years and years ago. And it wasn't every show that I asked this question, but when I did, I was like, wow, okay, that's another interesting answer. I'm going to make this the closing question of every show. And with your permission later, Lisa, what I will do is make a compilation book of everyone's answers into a single book. And the title of the book will be the title of the question, which you'll know here in just a moment. But I'll get your permission first, of course. The cool thing, there's two cool things. That there's no such thing as a wrong answer. It doesn't exist. There's no way to fail it. It's not a test. And the second one is just the opposite is true. The only correct answer is yours because it will be unique to you. It will be correct. It will be beautiful. And if you get it right away, it's like, oh, I know that. Or it could be 5, 10, 15 seconds, a minute. Doesn't matter. That's still perfect because it's your answer. So now that all the pressure's off and the curiosity is at its height of what the heck is this question going to be? Lisa, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Lisa Montgomery, how do you define success?
Being as authentic as you possibly can all the time. That's it. Because it comes from your heart. It comes from your soul. And if you're hiding and not being your authentic self, that's not doing anybody any good.
I love it. And so does the airplane. Yes. Yes, thank you so very much. Oh my goodness, Lisa Montgomery, you're an absolute treat, a pure gem. I cannot wait to visit you in your home when we make our move to be close to you. That's why we're moving, just so you know.
Yeah, I know.
Hang out with you and your husband and have a good time. That will be fantastic. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on. I know it's late where you are on the East Coast. There was a hint of 9, almost 10 o'clock. Thank you so much for providing such incredible value, such wisdom, such and just for sharing yourself, because you know you put yourself out there. That's another trait of successful entrepreneurs. There is a level of vulnerability, transparency that is an absolute must to become successful. Otherwise, people won't get to know the true you. And if they don't get to know the true you, they won't know, like, and trust you deep enough to be a client or even a long-term client at that. So appreciate you, Lisa, very, very much.
Back at you. This has been loads of fun. Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness. Yes. All right. I hate to end it. You know, it's separation anxiety time, but on behalf of the amazing Lisa Montgomery, I'm your host, Brian Kelly of the Mind Body Business Show. Cannot wait to see you all again. Next week, we'll have another amazing guest. I don't know. They have a tall order to be better. Anything close to Lisa Montgomery. We'll see. But until then, everyone, please do two things. Just two things. It's real simple. Number one, go out and crush it and serve others. And number two, above all, please be blessed. Take care, everybody. Have a great one. So long for now. Thank you for tuning in to the Mind Body Business Show podcast at www.themindbodybusinessshow.com.